Time for the fifth colour palette of July 2022. The topic for this one is motivational reminders. In case you're catching up, July is my limited colour palette art challenge that I've been doing and running since 2018. The name stems from the month the challenge takes place, July, and hue, which is another term for colour. The aim of the challenge is to create imagery using no more than 5 colours, though black and white can also be used. It's also possible to blend the colours and use things like blending modes and transparencies. The first reminder is all about not comparing yourself to others. A while back, I heard the phrase, "Don't compare your beginning to someone else's middle," and it's something that stuck with me. These days, it's easy to consume art on social media, but that also means that we as artists often believe that our work isn't good enough. And while comparing ourselves to others might seem natural, we often forget that others might be in a different part of their art career, meaning that it's not a fair comparison. The artists you're comparing yourself to most likely had entirely different experiences and opportunities to you, be it where they studied, who they studied under, if they managed to find more time to create, or had a different art community, and so on and so such. And different experiences lead to different paths, and sometimes we end up taking detours here and there. So, don't look at art as a competition, because it truly isn't. Other artists are showing you what's possible, and should show you that you can get there too. So use other people's art as inspiration, not as comparison. The idea behind this image was very much tied to the message, and I chose to use plants to illustrate this point, as there's always room for learning and growth. The next reminder is to nurture your creativity. This image really goes hand in hand with the previous one, which you might be able to tell as the plant is making its appearance again, and does so throughout the entire series. I figured the plant would be a good addition as it shows that art and creativity is a skill that can be nurtured. This painting is also a bit of a throwback to some images I made during previous July challenges. I'll make sure to share the paintings I'm thinking of so you can see what I mean. If you have any questions about my process, please let me know in the comment section. Admittedly, I was struggling with these colours, and that has made this my least favourite colour palette and series of July 2022. The main reason for this is that some of the colours were darker than what I would have liked, and I think the one thing that threw me off the most is how the minty green colour is the lightest one, which made me skip out on a few highlights. It's also a very warm set of colours, and personally, I'm missing some cool tones to contrast that. And I know, I'm the only one to blame for this, as I picked the colours and the topic. It just goes to show that I don't get the colours right all the time, and I can note this down as a learning opportunity. Finally, a reminder to rest. I know that we all know that we should get more rest and make sure that we take a break and so on, but often we don't. But rest is really important to us, not just making sure that we've got enough energy needed to perform tasks, but getting rest can help us with focus and learning and processing abilities. Not to mention that sometimes we push through being tired and continue to work, but the work takes us longer than normal. So if you just rested, you would have actually finished earlier and you would have had a better result. So please, make sure you get enough rest. I have to admit, I do not like the style of this entire series. At the time, I was a bit torn between the more realistic style I used for the Japan posters and the cutesy style for the reminders that I made during the fourth colour palette. So when I got to this one, I wasn't able to land on either one and ended up with something that was part simplified and part realistic, and that just didn't work. However, it's worth noting that as I was so unhappy with how this series turned out, I ended up redoing it after July finished, with a fresh colour palette and a different style. The video for that is coming, so watch this space. Thank you so much for watching. More process videos are up on my YouTube channel, and check out my social media accounts and my website for more of my work.